Welcome to GGG Insights, a production of the East Hampton Group for Good Government. Our program today is about senior services being provided by the town of East Hampton. And we have two guests, Kathee Burke Gonzalez, who is the town board member who is the liaison to the Human Services Department, and also Diane Patrizio, who is the director of the department. Kathee, we know about you because you were president of the school board in the Springs, and you're a board member. But Diane, what's your background? How'd you get involved in this?
My background is mainly in not-for-profit work. I worked for Long Island Housing Partnership and for Long Island Housing Services, and I worked with affordable housing, also with counseling any homeowner facing default. But it was first-time home buyers. I actually was somewhat involved many years ago with an agency that was involved with the affordable housing out in East Hampton. Oh. So Whalebone Woods there was not a housing agency in East Hampton at that time. Also, I'm saying how old I am, but I was involved in that. So we built some stick-built homes and some modular homes out in Whalebone, and they're still there. So that's pretty much, when I started working with East Hampton.
Oh, okay. I think a lot of us are surprised to learn, first, we're all aging. That's always a shock. But also that the population of East Hampton itself is getting older, as I understand it, both on an absolute basis and as a percentage. So I know I've seen something that said a few years ago, 18% of the population was already classified as seniors, which I guess is 65 plus.
Well, we use 60 plus with
60
our
plus?
programs.
Oh, okay. Could you give us, you said your program, could you give, I know the Department of Human Services has programs for adults, for children, for all kinds of different groups. Focusing on the seniors, well, Kathee, maybe you could tell us, what are the senior programs in the department?
Well, on a daily basis, we run a senior nutrition program, and that's done at the Springs Fireplace Senior Center, and we also have an adult daycare center there. So we're serving, a hot lunch 5 days a week to seniors, and then we have a program that runs from 8 to 3 for our adult daycare population.
What about the folks that live out in Montauk? They come all the way here? Or?
Well, some do, but Montauk also, out of the Playhouse, there's a not-for-profit that's running a nutrition program there that the town funds.
Diane, those programs in Montauk and in East Hampton all are under your purview?
Well, the town provides grant funds to the Montauk Nutrition Program, but it's run by a private not-for-profit.
Oh, really?
But we oversee with technical information and guidance.
Oh.
And we also have a senior...
Our adult daycare program is out in Montauk.
Who runs that?
We do.
Oh, okay.
So we have an adult daycare program with an office in East Hampton and in Montauk.
Okay, but do you, I don't want to get too
Sure.
caught up here, but an independent not-for-profit runs the program?
The nutrition program.
But not the
Not
daycare
the
center?
adult daycare. We have one supervisor who does run both programs, and our staff alternates between sites.
Oh, I see. And how many people are partaking in the lunch program in East Hampton, and how many in Montauk on a daily basis?
Sure. Oh, on a daily basis in East Hampton,
On average, obviously, it's going to go up and down.
I would say 72 is about how many people we feed daily.
And how's that break down between East Hampton and?
Oh, no, Montauk is separate. Montauk, I would say 35.
Oh, okay. So these are pretty large groups. I mean, honestly, it surprises me that many people were having lunch.
And that's not when we're having a party.
Right.
Okay.
Because then we can have over 100.
Well, also, what happens in the real world of East Hampton where the population explodes in the summer? Do you have 2 or 3 times as many elderly people having, or senior people having lunches, or is it?
Well, we do have more people having lunch. Where we see it more so is in our wellness programs. We have a yoga program that we run in partnership with the Parks Department, and many people who come here in the summer would like to be part of that program. So while now we may have 50 people who are part of the yoga program, we could easily have much more, but we don't have enough space for everyone.
Now, are these programs mirrored both in East Hampton and in Montauk, or
Not exactly, no. The yoga program that we have is a town program, and the instructor is salaried through the town. She's an employee. But I know there are programs that also the Montauk Nutrition program runs, a yoga program, but that's apart from the town. So there is yoga offered in Montauk, but I think you might have to pay to do that. Our program, there is no cost to seniors.
Now, where is your program physically? Is it in this senior center?
It's in our center.
Yeah, now, everybody has heard a lot of complaints. I mean, my mother's 99, so I know a 99-year-old woman generally can find anything to complain about every day, so that's not a problem. But there were some problems with the physical location on Springs Fireplace Road, and I think, Kathee, you were looking for alternative sites.
Well, what happened was we're looking to build a new senior center, and because the current center is not adequate to fulfill the needs that we have. And it's also, the building is about 100 years old and really needs to be leveled. The original plan was to site the new center on the same piece of property to the back of the lot, and then we heard about the CDCH building being available.
That's on
Stephen Hand's Path.
Okay.
And we took a look at that building. We took the staff through on a tour, and then we took the seniors through, and we realized it really wasn't a good fit.
Why is that? I mean, it seems like it's
it was
big building.
22,000 square feet. It was 10,000 square feet. The original building was 10,000 square feet on the main floor and then 10,000 square feet in the building. But it's really spread out, and we found that on the tour, there were times when some of the seniors needed to sit and stop and, to catch their breath.
Oh, just the width of the place.
Yeah, it was just not really laid out to be a senior center. It's also, folks felt that they liked the central location on Springs Fireplace Road. It's right near Springs, where it's densely populated, where a number of our folks come from, and they didn't like the fact that Montauk Highway, there's no light there. It's hard to make a left. Stephen Hand's Path and 114, there's flooding there, so it was just the westernmost part of our community.
Now, how big was the old, or is the old senior center still being used?
Right, and that's currently with the trailer where the offices are, where Diane's office is. It's just under 12,000 square feet, but a third of that is storage.
Oh, so it's
4,000
usable 8,000?
Yeah.
And
that's rounding up.
That's round up. Okay. It's not a big number, so I must round up.
Exactly.
How about the new senior center that you're building? How big is that going to be?
We're looking right now at about 18,000 square feet.
Now, is Diane going to keep her trailer? Or?
No, we're going to lose the trailer.
You're going to lose the trailer. So 18,000, and you'll probably need still 5,000 or so for storage.
The storage is fine at 4,000.
Yeah, okay. So you basically double the size. Has anybody gone through and made projections as to what the likely population is going to be of seniors 10 years from now or 20 years from now?
We've looked at that number. We had an internal committee with Eric Shantz, who's one in the planning department, Marguerite Wolfson, who's the director of planning, Tom Talmadge, the town engineer, was on that committee, and then folks from the senior center looked at that. And part of it is right now we're servicing a population, and there are seniors that wouldn't think to come to the senior center because they're a little turned off by the physical space. So what's going to be interesting is to see if, when we build the new center, will we attract
more people,
seniors that wouldn't have thought to come before, and because we'll have more space, we'll be able to do more wellness programs. And I mean, have you ever considered going to the senior center?
You think I'm 75 years old?
60 and over. I'm 5 years away.
I'm way away from 75, Kathee. I won't be 75 until June.
We're looking for, is there a place where you could just drop in and have a cup of coffee and meet people and have like a snack bar, or we were teasing a smoothie bar.
That'd be terrific, I think,
so,
especially for folks who can drive themselves. Now, one of the big problems, Diane, of everybody, as soon as they get a little bit older, is driving. And it's not a major problem in the city because in New York City, it's pretty easy to get around, but out here, it's really tough. What do you do for those folks who need some help?
Well, we have our senior transportation program, and we will pick up seniors in the community that would like to come to our center and have lunch, or that need to go to a doctor's appointment or need to go shopping.
Well, you also, when you say doctor's appointment, I know there are some doctors here in East Hampton, but when you get into more specialized work, you probably have to go to Southampton or to Stony Brook or maybe the VA hospital. How does that all work? I mean,
Yeah, I think we're one of the few towns that will go anywhere in Suffolk County.
Oh, really?
Basically because we need to, because a lot of the services aren't here. But we will go to the VA, go to Stony Brook, but we try to keep it to a schedule where we can service as many people at once. So if we're going to doctor's appointments in Southampton on Tuesday and Thursday, we try to let our clients know to schedule it during that time.
Well, you have roughly, if I remember the number, you have roughly 100 people at the nutrition centers in Montauk and East Hampton every day. How many,
for lunch.
yeah, for lunch. How many people do you think you service on an average day for transportation? I mean, it's obviously close to 100 by definition, most of the folks who go to this nutrition.
Actually, most of the people that go to our nutrition program, let's say out of 72, maybe only 15 use our transportation.
Oh, really? That's my,
So most of our, yes,
they're driving themselves or relatives or friends are dropping them off?
most are driving themselves.
Oh, I see.
Our transportation program is mostly taking people to doctor's appointments or
Shopping.
shopping,
Or the bank, the
Yes.
post office.
And how far,
essential services.
if, obviously you're not going to take me to Manhattan to shop, but how far do you go to?
We go throughout Suffolk County. So there are, as you know, many doctor's appointments in Riverhead, Southampton, or Stony Brook. You know, we've done trips to different playhouses across
Oh, really?
Suffolk County. We've done trips to Manhattan, but we don't drive
No,
there.
not on a regular, not on a regular basis.
We did a Radio City
Yes,
trip
we
for,
had-
for
Oh, really?
Christmas, right.
Oh, the
We had
Hampton
been given
Jitney,
a grant by a foundation, and we used some of the money from that to get a jitney bus and tickets to the Radio City.
Wow, okay, that's terrific. I mean, I happen to think all these programs are phenomenally important for people who more and more are cloistered in their homes because they don't have the access to the transportation. I mean, I see that in my own family. Now,
It's funny you say that, because I had, heard just anecdotal, a friend's mother moved in with her because she was having some medical issues, and the friend worked all day, as did her husband, so they live out in Northwest Woods. Her mother was very lonely, and started coming every day to the senior center for lunch, and it was a lifesaver. It really, because people, it's where they're socialized, and if I don't know if you've ever been in there for lunch or you visited for when they have one of their parties, but there's a real sense of community there. And
that's terrific, really.
I've gotten to judge the Halloween contest. I've gotten to sit on Santa's lap. We have a birthday party every year for those that are 90 and older, and the supervisor gives out proclamations to the seniors, and we have a full house.
Sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, we've got one of the gentlemen is a poet, so he'll get up and read poetry.
Oh, wow.
So it's a special place.
Diane, I saw on your website that you also have a house maintenance, a maintenance program.
Right, we have an in-home services program, and that consists of a case manager and a supervisor who manages the homemakers. The homemakers go into the home and will help with tasks that the client can't handle anymore, and that's all determined by our case manager. She does a very extensive assessment. So if someone is unable to, clean their homes or shop
their
or
laundry, make
do
their
their laundry,
beds.
she makes that determination. After doing the assessment, it is handed off to our supervisor of the program, and then the homemaker is given a task list, and then we'll go into the home and take care of the needs there.
Is it possible that a homemaker might go into a home 7 days a week?
No.
Not the same one, obviously.
No. I think at most it would be twice a week and for 2 hours at a time. But it is determined by the case manager. If someone's needs increase where we would increase the time, but it isn't a daily.
Right. And some of the funding for this comes through the county.
Yes, most of our programs have
What are the,
county funding.
what's the rest of the menu of programs? So you have the caseworkers going into houses, and the homemakers, or not the caseworkers,
homemaker,
the
right.
homemakers going into houses. And you've got the nutrition program, you've got the transportation back and forth to doctors and to shop or whatever, and you have some of these yoga programs. What other programs do you have?
Well, the adult daycare program,
Okay, what is adult daycare? Is that dropping off my mother and picking her up at 5 o'clock, or?
I haven't met your mother, so I don't know if she would be attending our nutrition program or our adult daycare program.
My mother will do anything that, she's in a wheelchair, but
Right.
she will play the piano, she will sing, she will do arts and crafts, she will.
Well, then she sounds like she might be
she
able
wants
to attend
her day is
program.
full. My father, who's 99, sits in his chair and smokes his pipe.
Okay.
And then he goes out to dinner, and he sits back in his chair and smokes his pipe. So I have a range of elderly people that I'm familiar with.
Well, the adult daycare program would be for someone who needs assistance because they, might have some cognitive issues or some physical
Oh,
issues.
okay.
So
So-
that's what the adult daycare program is. That we
So
have.
it's not just having a good time, it's really.
No, this is, and it's also for the family, if the family needed some respite time. This way, when your, say, your mother or your father was with us, you can have some time free of caregiving.
Oh, I
So
see.
that's what part of this is. So these are very structured activities. This is not, you'll come in the morning and there will be current events, exercise, music. There's a calendar on our website that lists all the activities. And so they're very scheduled and planned.
Oh, wow.
And when they're transported on the bus, one of our home health aides will be on the bus with the bus driver, just so, our clients are well taken care of.
Okay, so it sounds like the senior daycare program is meant for a person who needs help through most of the day with activities. What about the person who just wants to come and do arts and crafts and play checkers and have a good time?
And you can come to the nutrition program, or you can just come to our wellness programs. We just started Qigong again. We have Tai
I don't
Chi.
even know what Qigong is. Come on,
I
give
knew
me a
that was
break.
going to come up. It's basically a Chinese form of meditation and movement,
Oh,
similar
that's the thing
to
where
Tai
the
Chi.
Chinese.
Well, Tai Chi is more that way, but we also have a healing circle, and we've recently had a 4-part series on Chinese nutrition and medicine. There's a lot
We've had line dancing,
going on.
didn't we?
Line
do
dancing,
as well?
yes. And there is, if you look at the calendar, arts and crafts. I think we've started a coloring class because that's very therapeutic, they're finding now.
We've also had visiting artists come in and do work projects with.
Guest chefs have been there.
So this is all around, this type of project is really built around the nutrition. You come in earlier than lunch, you do some of these activities, then you have lunch, then you do some more activities. Is that the way it works?
Well, that's the way some of them work, yes. But as far as our wellness and the yoga, that yoga starts at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
There's 8 and 9. So those who come to yoga don't necessarily stay for lunch.
Well, how do your buses pick people up in time to get them to an 8 o'clock yoga class? Well, they don't.
Well, we actually started to do that.
Really?
But as we were saying before, not many people aren't driving. I guess maybe a lot of our yoga participants are driving themselves. But we would do what we can. Our drivers start at 7:30.
Wow. And how late do your drivers drive?
Well, some end the day at 4 o'clock, that's the latest. So basically 3:30 would be the end of the day for driving.
Okay, so if I'm a driver, I'll start at 7 in the morning, more or less, and end at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And what happens to the seniors who don't drive after 4 o'clock?
Well, you see, the transportation program is for essential services. It's not, so most of the doctor's appointments and things are all, scheduled in the morning or late after, early afternoon, so that the drivers will be back in East Hampton
Oh,
by
so they're
4 o'clock.
okay. Now, one other thing, I saw something called home repair.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah,
I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anything important.
Do you also repair body parts, by the way? I know what other
We have a residential repair program, and that is for anyone 60 and over. Income is not taken into consideration if you need minor repairs in your home. So if you needed a grab bar installed, or a big one is putting in air conditioners and taking them out,
Oh, sure. That's
cleaning
huge.
gutters.
For, ranch-styled homes, we don't.
Don't quite.
Right,
They
okay,
don't
yes,
have
I should
second
say
story,
that. And any kind of minor
If you
repair
had a
work.
leak, they'll paint a wall.
Oh, really? This is a terrific program.
And what you do is you pay for the supplies.
Mm-hmm.
So if my mother is coming in to live with me, and I need a grab bar, by the shower or the toilet.
Sure.
I'll pick up the grab bars, and then the young man comes into the house and does the installation.
And how many people are involved in that program?
Well, we have a maintenance mechanic, and we have a coordinator of the program. I'd say last year we served 80 people, but we would like to serve more.
I don't think that's well
This
publicized.
is also funded through the county.
Oh, it is? So how does that work? The more people you serve, the more money the county gives you? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because what we do is the voucher that we put in would be based on the working hours of the maintenance mechanic.
oh, so you've got one maintenance mechanic who has helped 80 people during the year, obviously not everybody every week, but could that maintenance person handle, what is the unit? In other words, can the maintenance person handle 100 people, do you think?
Yeah.
Well, I guess, yeah, and it would depend on the project. If he's
Sure.
only going over to a home to, install an air conditioner versus if he's cleaning the gutters. I mean, one trip might be, a 40-minute trip, another might be 4 hours in his day, so it really depends on the project.
Yeah, he works 20 hours a week, so there's quite a bit of work he
Oh,
can do.
is there any reason why he's not working more hours a week, other than there's not enough to
Well,
for him to
the
do?
grant with the county is
20 hours a week?
a part-time grant.
Oh, I see. But you could have two part-time people, or? I just think this is a phenomenal program. I really do.
That would be
I never heard
wonderful,
of it.
but I would first need to use up the time of the first part-timer to justify it.
Oh,
And
okay.
I haven't done that yet. But if you get the word out and.
Well, no, I mean, I think this is,
And what we've been doing too, we've been using WLNG to promote a lot of our programs. Right now, the menus get announced every day. The activities get announced
on the radio.
every
Yes.
day. And we've found that that's been helpful.
Are you at all familiar with the HP printing telephone? It's a phenomenal device for elderly people. It's about as big as it's about as big as a toaster. And what it is, it's a computer that only receives, and you can't go out. You can only receive, and you don't need a special internet line. You take your telephone jack, you put a splitter in. One end goes to your telephone, and one end goes to this machine. And in our family, my mother loves it because she has no interest in learning how to use a computer. Every few hours, this thing bings, and it prints out an email from somebody in the family, a picture of a child or something like that. Or in your case, it could be printing out the menu for the next day or telling them about what programs are available. It's relatively inexpensive. It's like $100 or $150. And it really ties an elderly person into what I'll call the modern world, where people don't have the time or interest to telephone them and talk to them, but rather push the button and send the picture that they're sending to 5 relatives to mom at the nursing home, it's a tremendous project or facility that could be very useful. So it just seems to me that as I'm sitting here, I'm listening to all these things you do, and I had almost no knowledge of any of them. Certainly, as a person who has an elderly parent or had two elderly parents, have two elderly parents, I know how frustrating it is for an elderly person to see the faucet dripping and they are not able to take the wrench in the minute and a half and stop the faucet from dripping. Or they see the spot on the wall and they can't get the paintbrush to do it. Are there other programs that we haven't touched on yet that you have?
The list that we have when there's an emergency or there's a
Well,
weather
yes,
event.
okay. We have an emergency contact list that we keep. We actually keep 2 of them. So if someone would like to be called when there's a weather emergency to get checked up on, we have that. There are 2 lists. One is a call-only list where we'll just call and say, do you have your medication? Do you need anything before the storm? And the second list is of individuals that if they lost power, some of their medical equipment wouldn't be working. And so that list is shared with the local fire departments and with Southampton Hospital and with, emergency preparedness in the town. This way we know if there is a weather emergency in a certain area, we'll know who in that area we should check up on.
I see. Our show is sort of drawing to a close. As usual, we've got 10,000 things to speak about still, but we have a second segment we'd like to do. During that segment, back in 2014, the town asked a group of seniors to, as a committee, come up with ideas of what they think the town should be doing. And what we'd like to do in that next half hour is go over some of those ideas, see which ones have been implemented, which ones are still to be done, and which ones really don't work. So I want to thank you both for being with us. I'm sure because we've got you as a prisoner, you're going to be here for the next half hour segment, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
And thank you all for listening, and we hope you also listen to or watch the next segment.